touch all your seatbelts, touch all your connections, touch your Hans. Make sure you get everything like you want it.
Alrighty, folks. Bridge to Cup action here today at Circuit of the Americas in Texas. And we're rolling off of a doubleheader just Saturday night where Atley Weiss took both wins. Atley Weiss starting on the pole here today at COTA alongside Cooper Dwight. So could he potentially be in for a three-peat? Might be interesting here, starting from pole position in one of the shorter Bridge to Cup races that we're going to have this year. Scott Speed and Luis Rodriguez right behind. Dave Steele Jr., your current points leader, has been struggling, but keeps finding a way to work his way into a good finishing position each week. Jack Davis, Rich Roy and Bradley Ream, Kyle Ottawa and Spinham Walker, Kyler Sestre and Adam Starr, Krista Cower and Nadak Hagum. Then you've got Ryan Little alongside Cannon Gage here. Gage keeps putting on a good show each week. He just has not found victory lane yet. It's getting a little bit safer for him to make it in on points for this bracket championship battle. And if Atley gets another win, that means we'll have more opportunities for a driver to point their way in after today. So keep that in mind. Alan Malcolm and Osiel Escobar, Anheuser Wagner and Gannon Bird, John Hagan and Jamie Horseman, Kevin Xavier and Lucas Holmes, Andrew Moger and Braden Hunt. Noah Hobson needs some miracles to go his way, as well as Roach, David Bird and Kat Durham, AJ Kosnoff and Paul Adino, with Chasey Plays at the back of the field here. 14 laps a day here at COTA. Can be a long one. This track's a very long track, but it's going to be relatively quick in the amount of laps run, so
Drivers, start those engines!
not very many drivers in this Bridge to Cup series has ever won 3 in a row. One thing that pops to mind very often is Al Bunch's 4-peat, where he won 4 in a row. So if Atley were to get 3 in a row, he could be in rarefied air to join the likes of Al Bunch with just one more win following today if he gets it done. It's not going to be an easy 14 laps here. I mean, it's going to be quick, but I mean, obviously road courses track position is king. So it's going to help a lot having that pole position for Atley. Not going to be any pit stops that I could think of unless we get some late race shenanigans and cautions that come around that force him to go maybe green-white checkers. So we'll see. First time this year that we've actually been racing on a Monday. Welcome aboard anyone tuning in. It's to get some races out of the way for the month of July here. We're going to have a frantic 11-day stretch, and then we'll have the rest of July off. Happy early 4th of July to everyone out there. Obviously, we're going to be racing on the 4th of July too, because we're going to have a race every day here. But we got to get rolling with this one first. The first race here in July of 2024. Bridge to Cup action from COTA is underway. As they climb this steep hill, Atley's got his teammate right there behind him, Scott Speed. They're going to drive it into turn 1, and all of them seem to make it through without any turmoil. Atley gets a little bit of an edge there and closes the door on Cooper Dwight. Cooper Dwight falls back to 3rd as Scott Speed boogies on up to 2nd there. Dave Steele Jr. right there in the wings as well, waiting. Oh, we do have a little bit of, it's going to be Noah Hobson. So Hobson needs a great day here today, and that's not a good way to start it. He's, wow, that was all on him there. And so like all of our road course racing here in Sigma Action, this ain't going to merit a caution. We're only going to throw full course yellows. And if it's a bad enough wreck to force a full course yellow, we would do it. But that, everyone keeps going. Wow, they're still wrecking some more drivers. This could be a topsy-turvy race here already. It's only lap 1 and we've had... So where's the 98 in all of this? Krista Cower and Bradley Ream. Bradley Ream doesn't do much that he did wrong there. It just looked like Krista got into the back bumper of the 19 and lost it. So just hit the fast forward button so we can see if we missed anything at the front here. It's Atley over Scott Speed, Cooper Dwight, Dave Steele Jr., and Luis Rodriguez. Rodriguez has been kind of a huge surprise here at the end of the season, at least the end of the regular season. I don't think he's going to be much of a factor for the championship, but it is promising to show this kind of strength from a team that's been struggling as much as they have to maybe have something for next year. So Atley leads the first lap here today. Scott Speed in 2nd. Rich Roy up to 6th. Jack Davis in 7th. Kyle Ottawa in 8th. Bradley Ream up into the top 10. Now, Bradley Ream, his only chance of winning the regular season championship is if this 35 car faults out here sometime today. Looks like people have kind of got it sorted in the backfield, and we're running single file throughout the entire racetrack here. Single file all the way from first to last. So this is where it's just going to turn into one of those follow the leader affairs, as so many road course races tend to do in our Sigma Racing series. Strategies might not really come into play here today, as a 14-lap sprint like this, it's pretty much just going to be who had it from the start is going to close it out in the finish. So what is a huge note of interest here for Atley Weiss? If he gets his third win, he would be seeded number 2 for the championship. Doesn't matter where he is in points. We're going to seed him by win numbers, and driver with the most wins obviously is seeded first. Believe it or not, the way it would work out, regular season champ could potentially be seeded worse. Actually, no, I take that back. Regular season champ would be seeded first regardless. That seems like a fair... There's got to be at least a credit for winning the championship, so scratch that. You could have 0 wins and win the regular season, and you would be seeded number 1, and that would make things interesting, honestly. But because our winningest driver leads the points, Dave Steele Jr. with 5 wins, he too would be seeded first, as well as having the most wins and regular season champion, if he can close it out here. But what could happen is if Bradley Ream catches him and takes that first, wins the regular season championship, he only has 2 wins, and those 2 wins will still be good enough because he gets the regular season championship to seed him first in the bracket. And Dave Steele Jr. would then get relegated back to second in the seeding. So that's where it gets interesting, is win numbers, regardless of points position, as Atley Weiss sits 7th in the points, but he has 2 wins right now. He's currently seeded 4th because he's got 2 other drivers ahead of him with 2 wins apiece. Win another race, well, he'll be seeded a little bit higher. The best he can do is get seeded 2nd, because there's no way he's going to catch Dave Steele Jr. in the overall points battle here in the last 2 or 3 races of the regular season. But this will definitely help Atley's case a lot. I'd much rather go into it seeded 2nd rather than seeded 5th or 6th or 7th. That's where Scott Speed in 2nd makes an interesting struggle here for Atley. If Scott Speed won his 2nd win, that would bump Atley back to being 5th seed. Scott Speed only has 1 win so far. Scott Speed got his 2nd win. He's already 3rd in the points ahead of Atley, so that would make Bradley Ream with his 2 wins, Scott Speed with his 2 wins, and Jack Davis with his 2 wins seated ahead of Atley, and it would bump Atley back to the 5th seed. There's a lot on the line here, even just for those 2 running 1 and 2 at the moment. Look a little bit further back, the 41, Cooper Dwight, he's going to need a miracle, a Hail Mary, if he wants to even fight for this championship in 2024. At this point, based on numbers, he is he's mathematically out, but he can still play spoiler here and keep other drivers from getting wins. Sitting in third, he's showing a lot of strength right out of the gate in this 41 car. He's had a win in his first ever start. He's had a fifth and a third in the last 2 races. And running third here today, just kind of picking up where he left off. Fastest lap belongs to Scott Speed at the moment. So sitting in second, but he's got the faster car to his teammate, Atley Weiss. So let's catch up to the back of the field here. Krista Cower involved in that first lap altercation with the 19 of Bradley Ream, spun out. She's running dead last on track here in 33rd. John Hagan in 32nd. Man, he has fallen from grace something terrible. We have not seen him on the same level since week number 1 when he got the win in his series debuts. So hopefully they're doing their homework here and figuring out what they can do to make this car better for the championship stretch at the end of the year here. But not sure. It's been a struggle for the 88 team. You got Chasey Plays and Noah Hobson in front of him. Hobson in 30th. Paul Ladino in 29th. AJ Kosnoff in 28th. Roach. Kevin Xavier. Braden Hunt. David Bird. Gannon Bird. Kat Durham. Jamie Horseman. And Osiel Escobar 20th. Your top 20. You got Lucas Holmes, Andrew Moger, Anheuser Wagner, Cannon Gage, and Alan Malcolm in 15th. Top 15 includes Nadak Hagum, Adam Starr, Ryan Little, Spin Walker, and 10th place, Bradley Ream. Your top 10, therefore, is Kyler Sustre, Kyle Ottawa, Jack Davis, Rich Roy, and Luis Rodriguez in 5th. Impressively, a top 5 for Rodriguez, top 5 for Dave Steele Jr., Cooper Dwight, and your podium positions from 3rd up to 1st. Still Atley Weiss, Scott Speed, and Cooper Dwight. So there's a reason why this race is called the Texas Sprint. We're going to be done with this race in about 40 minutes. It's not typical that we have a Bridge to Cup race that goes without pit stops. If we look at our garage, it should tell us the stretch. Yeah, they're more than perfect. 27 laps on a fuel tank here. 14 laps is just cutting into that fuel run. So the only factor here today is going to be who's going to run off their tires first, who's going to have a better long run car, or is it just going to simply be follow the leader all the way to the finish? Atley looking strong, leading every lap so far. If you compare the two, they've had nearly identical fast laps. 2:25.95 for Atley to a 2:25.93 for Scott Speed. So you can tell that these two cars came out of the same garage, the same shop. They're both putting in fast laps. Tires definitely have worn off here, as they're about 2 seconds slower than their fast lap. Cooper Dwight, he had a 2:26.1 at his fastest. Dave Steele with a 2:26.442. And Luis Rodriguez with a 2:26.5. Might have a bit of a battle brewing here for third place. We'll keep our eyes on this battle for now to see what happens. Well, and now we've got more of a battle brewing for the front of the field between teammates here. On a road course, there is just so many opportunities for a driver to find extra speed that the other driver may not be able to find. It really is fascinating when you've got someone that, you know, might be able to tackle the first half of the track better than the other, and that other driver might be able to tackle the second half of the track better. Makes for some interesting deltas and, you know, opportunities for a pass to present itself. Seems like Atley stretches it out at the tail end of the lap, while Scott Speed tends to close it for the second half of the lap. Currently halfway through the race, 7 laps into the 14-lap event here today. It's been Atley all the way from lap 1. He's led every lap so far. But his teammate has shown that he's got a little bit faster car here today. So we'll see if Scott Speed can figure out a way to pass for the lead, or if it's just not going to materialize. Might have a bit of a opportunity here for Dave Steele Jr. outbraking the 41 going into that turn. And this overall championship battle is going to go all the way to Phoenix, and it's going to be an exciting one this year. With the Cup champion, or you know, the Cup seat on the line for the Bridge to Cup champion, you know that these drivers are going to give it their all to earn a full-time ride in the Sigma Cup Series. It seems that we missed a wreck somewhere on track here. Cat Durham had to get the front end of that car tore off. So let's fast forward through a lap with Cat Durham here and see where it happened. He was running in 22nd. Ooh. Fortunately, just miscalculated his brake points there. Ran into the back bumper of the 90. And that forced him to make a pit stop for repairs on the number 6. It must have been the same thing that happened with Chasey Plays, I think. So what this is going to do, this is going to benefit Noah Hobson for a couple more spots. Although it's not going to be much, as he's going to need a lot more spots to come his way to start catching up into the top 25 in the point standings. Bradley Ream still running top 10 here. We're going to be down to just 5 laps to go next time by. And it's been Atley at the front all the way. Teammate Scott Speed right behind him. So let's start comparing lap times between the two of them on a long green run here and what tire degradation is done. They're about 3 seconds off the pace as Atley turned a 228.7. Scott Speed just a little bit quicker at a 228.6. As they only have 5 laps to go, there shouldn't be any reason for a pit stop here today. But you do see the tire wear kicking in. And even though they're turning 228s, the rest of the field behind them are almost in the 229 delta. And then even further back, you got people turning 230s to 231s. So there's multiple time separation through the field here. Doesn't look like anyone's running slower than 231 though. Heck, Krista Cower running 229 at the back of the field. She had a better car than what her finishing position will tell you. So our lead two, really the only ones in the 228 bracket. And this could be a huge win for either of these two drivers, whichever one is able to secure it in the closing laps here. The crazy part is a win for Atley doesn't change a whole lot for Scott Speed. He would still be, basically he would go from being 3rd seed to 4th seed. However, if Atley Weiss lost, it would be him going from 4th seed to 5th seed. But if he wins, he'll go from 4th seed to 2nd seed just on wins alone. So and that's going to go a long way, having that seeding for this bracket. It'll give him an easier path to the final race of the season when he's going to be up against the drivers ranked lower than him. He gets to race against 15th, 14th, and 13th in the seedings, being the number 2 seed that he is. Number 1 seed obviously gets to face 16, 15, 14, and so on. So I would very much prefer that seeding over maybe 5th, where you would be facing 9th, 8th, and 7th, which could be very volatile, because that 9th, 8th, and 7th seed since we've got about 12 different winners, you'll be up against some tough talent for the head-to-head battles. It is quite impressive how this opportunity came together for Atley Weiss, our 2023 Sylvania Cup champion, who got streamlined into that cup seat out of Bridge to Cup. So he was supposed to finish a full season of Bridge to Cup and got relegated out of it after about 3 or 4 races. Never got to see victory lane here. But when GP Luxembourg left the series, that opened up an empty spot that needed to be filled. And with approval from Sigma and everyone else involved, Atley stepped in and said, hey, you know, I could go out there and, you know, help get the series some more promotion and more seats to get filled outside in the spectators. And so it was approved. The ultimatum was that Atley Weiss needed to get at least 1 win and maintain top 16 in the points. And so Atley was able to do that, getting a win just a couple days ago on Saturday on a doubleheader night, and he ended up winning both of those races. And just 2 days removed from his first career victory, he's potentially looking at a 3rd one here. 3 laps to go around COTA. Just got to make sure not to make any mistakes here. We do have at least a couple more Bridge to Cup races this stretch of races that we've got. We will have the Quarry Rallycross track on Friday. Everything else will be trucks. We've got 5 trucks and 4 cup races sprinkled in there. Tomorrow we'll have the trucks from Kentucky for the East Coast, 87 laps at Kentucky. And then the USA trucks will be at COTA, just like we are here. The West Coast USA Truck Series for 24 laps around COTA. Don't ask me how the trucks landed a longer race here than our Bridge to Cup series, but ultimately it's going to be an important race for those trucks, trying to get another win to lock themselves into the East-West Championship battle. Running order definitely has not changed a whole lot at the front of the field here. And another driver joins the back end of the field with front end damage, the 11 of Spin'em Walker. That moves Krista Cower up into a top 30. Noah Hobson now up to 27th. Jammy Horseman in the top 20. Cannon Gauge now up into the top 15. Kyler Sestre up to 10th. Bradley Ream in 9th. So a few drivers gaining a spot here and there. We're down to just a handful of laps, and it's been Atley Weiss from pole position going for max points here today at COTA. Pole position, led most laps. All he's got to do is check off the last checkbox there and get the win. This week marks one of the biggest marquee events for the Sylvania Cup Series, the 777 Annual on July 7th. You won't want to miss that one. It's going to be, it's a crown jewel event for a reason. We've hosted the race in Vegas all the way dating back to 2010 on July 7th every year without failure. And so it'll be the 15th year. Yeah, 15th running of it. I keep forgetting 2010 counts. 0 is figuratively the first year. 2011 is the second year. Of course, next year is the 15th anniversary celebration for this cup. Well, this Sigma Racing Series. It'll be 15 years of the Cup Series, and we're gonna have a lot of special tributes in 2015. I misspoke, for the 15th anniversary. All Atley's got to do now is close this thing out. Gonna have the white flag next time by, and it'll be just about another 3.5 miles around this very long, very technical Texas race course. To be quite honest, I was a little bit surprised to see Atley on the pole here today. It kind of shocked me a little bit. But when you've got a hot streak going, it's kind of hard to slow you down. Everyone else better be very afraid. He's finally got all the puzzle pieces put together in this Bridge to Cup team, and he's going to be a threat for that overall championship. Wouldn't that be crazy to go from being the 2023 Cup champion to potentially fighting for the 2024 Bridge to Cup championship? And I almost wonder if he's able to get a Bridge to Cup championship, that might open up talks about him trying to run the Truck Series again to get a championship in all series involved. I know he said he wanted to step down and only focus on his Cup program. But, you know, racer at heart would love to have that accolade of being the first to do something that no one else has done. To be someone that has won all 3 of the ladder series. Maybe 4, but I don't imagine him going to the ARCA series at all. That wouldn't be the proving grounds like the Trucks and this Bridge to Cup series is. Trucks is still very competitive, being one of the first rungs on the ladder. You got a lot of drivers that race there regularly that are Cup regulars, and it carries with it its own playground for these drivers trying to get wins and championships and all that. We do have a clause that if a driver wins too many championships in the trucks, they will get locked out. There is no rules barring anyone in Cup competition, so once you get, kicked out of the trucks, you can be a lifer in Bridge to Cup, you can be a lifer in the Sigma Cup Series. But here we go. Atley just has a couple more turns left here today, as he's held the lead since lap 1 from pole position. His teammate in second there. You're going to make the left-hand turn here, and just another technical zone away from closing out the deal. Left hand here, he's going to be home free. Coming down the front straight, it's going to be Atley Weiss taking the win here today over his teammate Scott Speed, making it a 3-peat today at COTA. That blue number 84 now bumps himself up to second in the seating. And believe it or not, this is going to bode well for, when you're hot, you're hot. And when you're not, you're not. 35 of Dave Steele Jr. He's not necessarily struggling here. It's just the competition around him has gotten stouter. And this championship is wide open now. Four in a row is going to be hard, especially since we're going to go to a rallycross track next. We'll have to see what Atley can do at the rallycross track. If he's able to secure 4 in a row at a rallycross event, that will be one of the strangest 4 in a row 4-peats that we've ever seen. We've only seen the 4-peat happen twice, and believe it or not, the 15 years that this has been going on, those both happened just in the last 2 years. Monty Shangle getting 4 in a row in Cup Series last year, and Atley Weiss getting 4 in a row here in this Bridge to Cup Series just 2 years ago. So, huge kudos here to Atley Weiss getting that 3-peat. One more step closer to being the next driver in a short chain of drivers to get a 4-peat. Dead last was Chasey Plays on field. Coming home 32nd was Cat Durham, 31st Spinham Walker. Spinham is in the points battle and has a win this season, a couple wins actually, so this is going to hurt him in the points relative to his competition. Hopefully he can stay ahead of the drivers that he's fighting with that have 2 wins as well. Krista Cower, Paul Ladino, John Hagan, man, he is fallen from grace here in this Bridge to Cup Series. Noah Hobson in 27th. It has just been a struggle of a year for this 22 team. But they're keeping at it, trying to figure out all the methods to get points here and be involved in the bracket championship battle. AJ Kosnoff, Roach, Kevin Xavier, Braden Hunt, David Bird, Gannon Bird, Jamie Horseman, Asiel Escobar, Andrew Moger, Anheuser Wagner, Lucas Holmes, Cannon Gage with a 15th, Alan Malcolm, Nadaka Gum, Adam Starr, Ryan Little, Kyler Sestre, Bradley Ream, Kyle Ottawa, Jack Davis, Rich Roy, Luis Rodriguez, and of course your top 4 was that of Dave Steele Jr., 41 of Cooper Dwight, 95 of Scott Speed, and your winner, Atley Weiss. Impressive. Cooper Dwight keeps putting up top 5 finishes. It's going to be a strange end of the year with some new faces making great races out of this. Well, that is a wrap for today, folks. Back at it again tomorrow with the USA Trucks at Kentucky. Huge congratulations to Atley Weiss for pulling off the 3-peat here. We'll see come Friday if he can make that a 4-peat. So, thank you everyone for tuning in. Stay safe out there. We'll catch you on the next one. This is Jakester signing out.